without further ado, Mr. Robert Rodriguez.
At any time, it won't feel rude at all. Just say, I can't hear you. If I'm leaning back and you can't hear what I'm saying, or if I tend to mumble a lot, no problem. Just say, huh? What? I want this to go well. I'm a little nervous. There's so many people here. When you're shooting a film, you never, as a director, never really feel like you're getting what you want. You always feel like the day was nothing but a series of compromises, and you wonder, did we do any good at all? We don't know. You know, the crew doesn't sleep that night. The camera department's worried. Was that shot out of focus? Did I buzz an actor? Was it a little underexposed, perhaps? So I was mixing sound up at Skywalker, and George Lucas was kind enough to show me early footage of stuff he had shot on Attack of the Clones, because he heard that I like to do things differently, and he thought he might be able to convert me over to digital also, and he sure did. I went and saw early footage that he had shot. It wasn't effect footage, it was just natural footage, natural locations. That was the first things they shot. And I was really blown away. These were just prototype cameras. It was the 1K projection, and it just got me excited about movies again. I felt like that 12-year-old kid again who was shooting on video and getting a lot done and be able to move at the speed of thought. So I bought 2 cameras, and I thought sequels are a great way to give you a lot of creative freedom. You already know you're going to have an audience, so you can go do something experimental like shoot on digital. So I thought that'd be a great way to test it out, and no better way to test out these cameras and put them through the ringer than by shooting something like a Desperado movie. You know, there are a lot of myths that went with HD that really hadn't been tested out. I thought people might just be saying stuff, so, well, let's find out for sure. We'll really know by the end of a Desperado movie what the limitations of the camera are. And so we're off. We got down there. I told my whole crew, who was really nervous, you know, they didn't know anything about HD, but every time we'd call someone to ask for advice, nobody knew anything about them. So we thought, well, there's nothing we can do wrong because there's nothing you can do right. Nobody knows what the right way is, so there sure as heck isn't a wrong way. We're just kind of figuring it out as we go, and this is how you're going to learn it, just by doing it. But the first thing you noticed was the monitor. I always try to get the best monitor system when I shot film because I want to be able to see what we got. And you don't realize how bad the best monitor for film is until an HD monitor shows up on the set. And everyone just gathered around it. They can suddenly see all the work they were doing. They could see where all the mistakes were. They could go fix things that they wouldn't catch on a film until it was too late. You know if you put the flag in a scene by the end of a shot and by the end of the afternoon. You know, you don't have sleepless nights anymore because you wonder if you got it. You know you got it, and you move on with such confidence that it changes your whole feeling on how you shoot. I enjoy shooting now, which I didn't before. Get Danny Trejo to come up here for a second. I want to show you Danny's face. This is an HD face. Look at this face. Now, you want every, like Sergio Leone, I wanted every mark and scar that this guy had to be on the screen. You know, I didn't want that diffusion of film grain or the blur of, you know, I wanted to feel his presence in the theater. People go to a movie to be transported. You don't want that gauze of film covering it up. What's there to hide? That's a beautiful face. He doesn't want to cover that up. Go sit down, Dan.
No sé de qué me habla,
So here, check
señor.
out this scene from Mexico. Thanks. Really wanted to go for, you know, a real epic feel with my first widescreen movie. I never wanted to shoot widescreen before, but I didn't want the epic schedule, and so we had 7 weeks to shoot, but wanted to give it the, you know, the long widescreen. So that is an extraction. That is actually taking the 16:9 HD image and only using the middle 235 section of it. So it's I'm using much less of the resolution that was even available, and this is the old camera. This is the 900. So this is the worst you'll ever see HD look. I mean, there's already new cameras that are coming out. This is what, you know, I shot before. And that's what's also I like about HD, is that it allows you to be truly decisive. And so much about making movies is kind of avoiding making a decision, and as long as possible, until you're in editing or something, so that that's what costs a lot. So the more decisive you can be, the better. And when you have something like HD, you can be decisive because you're seeing what you're getting as you're going. So you get much better performances too from your actors. And whenever I've done a movie with an actor with HD, they always, Antonio is on the phone with his next director saying, we got to shoot HD, because it really is a really wonderful creative way to make a movie. I know Johnny Depp loved the system, because I would get to operate the camera and you could put a really long lens on your camera. He said, I don't know if you're right here or full body, and I love that because you're changing your zoom throughout the entire shot. I have to be real the whole time. I remember one point I went over to him and started giving him some direction. He said, "Are you still rolling?" I said, "Yeah, I just keep the camera rolling. It's an hour's worth of tape. It's just tape. I'd rather not break the moment, you know." And it really changes how you shoot. Because even a seasoned actor, as soon as you call action, suddenly there's a little tension because you feel, okay, now we're doing it. But if you never call action, you never call cut, you're always in rehearsal mode, which is just a really free time to be. And you get really great performances. So I really want to try to let you in on, you know, because so much of HD talk is technical, but there's a creative side that just can never be equaled by the film process. Suddenly a lot of projects that I thought would never be good to shoot on film suddenly feel like they can be done. That's what makes it revolutionary, is that projects you would normally just shy away from, you'll just go do. I know so many directors who make a movie once every 4 years because they're just so tired afterwards. And they're tired of the process. The process is what drags them down. And they call me and they say, "You seem to be having fun. How can I have fun again?" And I tell them that the process has just gotten very convoluted. I kind of liken it to painting. What I like about the new technology is it makes you more like a painter, where it's so immediate. And I talk a lot about speed, and it is important because when you want to move at the speed of thought, so that you become like a painter again, who can just mix his paint and put it up before he even knows what he was doing, and there it is. Where the way the system works, and this is why studios, when they do make a good movie, they'll call each other up and congratulate each other, because they know how difficult it is to make a good movie, because it's made, well, in spite of the system that exists, not because of it. And when it can be simplified, the process is easy, everything's easy. This is why actors keep coming back to work with me, because the process is so simplified, they never feel like they're working. And neither do I. My mom told me a funny story when I was a kid, and I really liken Hollywood to that, in how long it takes for us to question tradition. And I always like this story because it's so true in a lot of ways, where you know, a young couple is making ham, and the wife is cutting the edges off of the sides, and the husband asks, before she bakes it, "Why do you cut all the ends of the ham off before you bake it? That seems like so wasteful." She goes, "I don't know, that's what my mom always did." "Well, let's go ask your mother. How come you cut all the ends off the ham before you bake it?" "I don't know, that's what my grandmother did. Let's go ask her." And that's the grandmother. "Why'd you cut all the ends of the ham off before you baked it?" She goes, "Oh, that's the only way I could get it to fit in the pan I had back then." And so I think a lot of things we do, we don't even realize why we're doing. We're just doing them because they've always been done that way, not knowing that there's new ways to do things, new technologies out there. And let's say the danger of shooting HD is that once you take that big leap and use a bigger pan, you start realizing, hey, we can do everything differently now. We don't have to throw half the milk out. We don't have to do this. We don't have to do that. And you question the entire system. And that's a good thing, too. You know, you'll see a lot of money be spent on a movie. You see a lot of talent, and sometimes you'll look at it and go, that's it? That's the finished product? After all that money, after all that talent, after all that work, why? Well, it was such an ordeal just to get the first brushstroke on. Yeah, it's barely there. Whereas if the process is simplified, you can have something that has a lot more layers, that has a lot more, the actual painting, the actual work is there, the actual creative, more time was spent on the actual creative part of making the movie than on the obstacle course that exists. I mean, I went and did a whole list of pros and cons on shooting film and shooting HD, and when it came down to it, the only reason you would shoot film is for nostalgic reasons. There was absolutely no practical purpose whatsoever for money, for creativity, for look, for degradation of image, for color, for... It just didn't make any sense. It would have to be like, you know, you're a vinyl record guy and you like vinyl. But right now the movie business is a lot like Enron. They're not really making any money because movies are so expensive. And how do you reverse the tide? Well, people have to use the new technologies smartly, and people coming up are the ones who are going to be able to save it, because it's not going to be able to sustain itself the way it's going. You know, John Lasseter always says that technology challenges art and art challenges technology. It really does push the boundaries of what you can do artistically. The technology, if used correctly, it really frees you. And so many creative people, I know it's just a natural tendency, even for myself, to not get into technology. Creative people are usually the slowest to adopt a new technology. And it's ultimately going to free them. You know, it could be a really exciting, you know, kick in the pants to movie making, which it sort of needs. It's become very recycled and very much, we're kind of doing the same movies over and over again. And when you can, technology will really push the art. And that's what's great about it, you know, embracing it, is that we can really come up with a new cinema. Okay, who all has questions now?
Since you can see what's going on right away, what you've got on your monitor, do you feel more free to experiment with the lighting, the cinematography, and even maybe do your own cinematography?
Yeah, absolutely. Photography is so much more, it's so much better. You're more experimental with the photography than you would be with a light. We don't use a light meter. You know, it's just to check, we light by eye, and then we figure out the numbers later, as my lighting technician tells me. I was like, what stop did we shoot? He's like, I don't know, we just looked at it and it looked good and we shot. And so many times, like I said, I would just see DPs going around with a fear in their eye, wondering, where is it going to go black? Where is it going to, you don't have to worry about that. And I would be shooting like a shot of Johnny or somebody, and you're looking at the monitor going, we need a little bit of fill here, but not too much. And I was always asking for, remember Fester, I was always asking for this piece of silver tin foil that just was just the right amount of light, that we would come and put this piece of crinkled tin foil just right up out of frame. And you could see on the monitor just how much it was until it was perfect. Okay, we're already rolling, so, okay, action, and we got it. Move on, let's go. There's no fooling around. So you can be really edgy in your lighting, more than you would be on film, because you're not going to risk underexposing Johnny Depp and saying, oh, we have to reshoot that, Johnny. So you're going to be usually more conservative on a real film shoot. With HD, you don't have to be conservative. You can do really edgy stuff because you're seeing it right then. And that's like the greatest gift to photography there is. So let me take man in the blue shirt right there.
You're known for doing a huge number of setups in a day. Has the number of setups increased with HD?
Yeah, we can't keep track of the setups anymore because so many of the setups now are happening within one shot. You'll look at it and go, the actor will turn to me, my little young actor on Spy Kids goes, I did that in one take. I said, no, it was one slated take. That was 25 takes within that because I kept shooting and moving around. We got, so many we can't count the setups like we did before because I'm changing lens sizes constantly, moving the camera constantly, and getting in one take, continuous take. And it throws me sometimes. I go to editing and I go, we only shot one take of that? And I look, oh, there's 10 takes within that in different positions, and it's just labeled as one take. It's really kind of cool. One of the benefits of being outside of Hollywood, and a lot of why I think like this, I think has to do with the fact that I don't live here. Because you're so far removed from it, you get to really examine it and go, that doesn't make sense for us out here. Let's do what makes sense, and you find a whole other way of shooting. And that's the best thing you can do for yourself, even if you work here, is try to get a bird's eye view of things and really question it. And you'll start coming up with different ways of doing things that work. There's no one right way to do anything. It's really thinking about the creative essence and how can you get there better, more creatively, more efficiently, and more economically, because then you're given more creative freedom. And when you can do more with less, you can go a lot further in what it is you want to accomplish. You can do anything at that point. Again, you'll be unstoppable if you become technical as well as creative.